peace is rather going to do the opposite. And I'm sure that by now we are all coming to the realization that really this is not just about the peace. Because I was listening, I was following discourse online about an Omani diplomat. And he was saying that since January, they have been negotiating between the Americans and the Iranians to try and get some peaceful resolution. And he says throughout his years of being in that business, he had never seen concessions like the way the Iranians made those concessions. They've agreed to almost everything that was asked. As of January, they were putting together, if you like, a draft sort of agreement for it to be, agreed. And then, bam, this happens. So clearly, it means that this very person who probably you may have gotten rid of may be considered, quote and unquote, a bit more, if you like, liberal. There are people who are even more radical, because there are people in Iran who would not even want to agree to those sort of concessions. But of course, when you get to a certain age, you realize that radicalism, intransigence doesn't pay. So you want to be a bit more flexible. Now you've gotten rid of that. Now you have ignited that sort of nationalistic, because remember, based on what happened in Iraq and Libya, there are people within that America want to capitalize on to say, listen, we're giving you the opportunity to fight within. Now there are people who, for political reasons, don't like the regime, right? But they're also concerned that, yes, we may not like them, but we have seen what happened with other countries where you come in, you get rid of the leader, but we don't get to control eventually. An external force gets to control. So that conception of an external person coming to really be in charge of our affairs itself will rally people who ideally will not really like those leaders and all those things. And clearly, we know that Iran controls the main route that is used for the oil business, and shutting that itself the market has reacted to that. Okay. And when the market reacts to that, sometimes some of these big powers, they do have their stockpiles and all those things. I hear Ghana, we have up to how many weeks? 6 weeks. If there's a 6 weeks, what happened? So clearly some of these fights that are proxy wars, that are very political and all those things, the ones who really suffer most are those of us who are non-aligned and we don't like Yempe and Wasa, right. But we get hit more. So it's unfortunate, and I don't think that that should have happened, but it has happened. But ultimately, I think they may have to go back to the drawing table, because this cannot be won through the flying of missile here and there, because Iran would also do their part, America would do.
Now, there are concerns on what Khamenei himself was doing as a leader. A lot of the people in Iran probably were not even happy with his regime, if I'm not mistaken. So if we talk about just a single person being taken out, and we tell it just a single person, what was the gravity of some of the actions and inactions he was involved in? But I've been joined by Prince in Tiamat. Prince, good morning.
Yeah, morning, my brother.
Yes, so you're welcome.
I'm back.
This has I'm with you, but don't let the supporters be angry with you today.
I'm always caught in the middle when I don't even have intentions of supporting it.
So, Prince, we're into the issue of Iran, and you know that the leader there, Ayatollah Ali, Khamenei, has been eliminated. And the argument on the table right now is that probably there was no need. But U.S. feels that this also leads to relieving people, bringing world peace and stuff. Your thoughts?
When somebody come to power in 1981 and becomes president in 89 and become a supreme leader up to date, not all his ideas or the things he will push will be an idea that everybody will support. I mean, let's get that one clear. There might be some political ideas you put across that it won't favor everybody, even within his own country. There might be some religious ideas you will push within the region that will not sit with all the people. But, as my brother was saying, if you want to solve a problem, sometimes throwing missiles will not be the ideal solution. dialogue or a way that people can have some concessions in the conversation. Because, I mean, the world has become too globalized that all the things happening in Iran, if we don't have, like they have the 12-day war or something short that will, people can come to a compromise, everybody will be affected globally. You have the region being one of the powerful places where all the oil we use globally is produced. Saudi Arabia is doing about 12 million barrels. Iran itself is doing about 4 million. Talk about Bahrain and all those people. They all use the same trade route to the Suez Canal. And if the issues are happening there, everybody is a net beneficiary of the whole problem. Mind you, when Israel attacked with his American ally, when Iran was responding, he didn't respond only to Israel. He responded to all the allies of America within the region. So the net cost of the war has been widened now. Now people are sitting in Dubai, they are not part of the whole conversation. But because America is having a base in Dubai, there's missiles being thrown to them. And this is a very huge holiday destination that they are going to lose global revenues and all that. So there's too much cost to war that when it comes, the ability to sit and not take entrenched positions and say, this one I don't want to move from here, this is my red line, this is that. I think there should be a bit of compromise because the cost is too huge. There's no clear winner in any war. Whether it's an Iraq-Iranian war, Ukraine-Russia war, nobody is a net beneficiary.
And it may affect us even in the sub-region.
Even Ukraine itself, that the quote-unquote that Russia seems to be beaten, go and see what is happening in Russia. A lot of the global multinational companies have left the country. So they are also feeling the heat one way or the other. So in war, nobody becomes a beneficiary. This one, the high time they sit down and say, listen, and the angles to the things they are doing, it's not only about the nuclear enrichment that Iran is doing. It has other undertones that in the region, they themselves, they know. So concessions is always very important moving forward. If not, it will be like a fire that you have quenched, but beneath it, it's still burning. And it will escalate even in future. Okay. People should sit. Killing the leader, you know, even within, if you have a leader who have been in power for close to 40 years, within people want to just even eliminate the person. Because power cannot be in your hands for 40 years. Even your allies there can be a palace coup against you. Okay. You understand? So being taken off, if you look at the stature of Ali Ayatollah as the man himself, the kind of resources, the kind of security he sits in, and this is able to happen. You know, intelligence can be even picked within your own. I mean, it's not proven, but it can happen. Right. You understand? But moving forward, I think there could have been more they should have done. But once it's done, we can't reverse it to Saturday morning to have a different decision. Moving forward, what do we do so that global supply chains will not be affected?
To avoid escalation.
Escalation.
When the people says, what do we do? You what can you do?
You can't do anything.
No, but
we are just thinking aloud because there's much you can do. The people sitting on the table is between Netanyahu, is between the leadership of Iran, is between the American people sitting there. But everything they do, it has a wider implication.
We have very limited time, and I want us to go into Sona as well. So I don't know.
There's an angle we need to look at too. Is two things. Do you listen to the American media reportage? Is that media reportage reliable? When it, you know, I mean, we've seen how they lied to the whole world.
Oh, and when it comes to media, everybody will say it to their favor. Americans will speak to their favor.
But don't forget,
will give a different perspective.
Don't forget, Britain and America took their people into a war against on complete falsehood.
Yes, of course.
Millions of their own citizens, in terms of their soldiers, were killed, let alone those innocent people in Iraq and so forth. So I'm very skeptical about where to get the news from.
So it's how the story is told.
How the story is told. So when you brought up
even
the issue,
this time, it has become worse this time because now they are AI-generated even bomb blasting of places that they can show to us.
When you brought up the issue of
becoming a bit difficult, even
the Supreme Leader, had done and all that. it's very hard to say these days. But at the end of the day, this is not the first time Israel and America have taken out leaders. I mean, recently in the past year, you've seen the attacks Israel has done and taken out leadership from Hamas or wherever and so forth. We've seen it happen. Right. And it probably won't stop.
So we're hoping it doesn't escalate.
But this is coming from a U.S. president who says he was going to stop all wars.
Will affect the world.
And he's going peace, Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know how this is going to be achieved at this point.
Let's talk about
the timing. So let's talk about how we get into Sana as well.
You see, I think we said that the last time when the issue of was it the Venezuelan issue? But we said that now the international, the geopolitics are changing. All these bigger countries, Russia, China, they have interest in Iran. Just like, I mean, you know, America has key interest in Israel. Now, they will not sit there and allow you to jeopardize their investments in that country. And that is why sometimes some of these things can get complicated. Okay. And that's why we need to be very, very concerned about it.
Okay, that's fine. I think we'll have to.
Now, let's talk about he mentioned the strikes, the strikes against American military bases.
You have to do that in 10 seconds.
So when we come home, I remember last week when I mentioned the issue of the Russian influence in Burkina and the American base, and I brought up that issue. There's a bit of skepticism in going forward with that. It's hit us right in the face right now. So here in Ghana, we don't want to be part of a proxy war with any of these two, going back to this issue of Cold War syndrome. And so let's be mindful. Let our government also be mindful.
All right, Sona, it happened on Friday, and there is a concern I would like to raise. As some stakeholders are making some comparisons on how the whole thing is organized. That on 24th of February, for instance, President Donald Trump gave a Sona in the U.S. Congress. There was no military parade before the rendition in U.S. So they're asking, what is the need for, the parade and all of that? Are we truly resetting? Is it simply an addiction to pomp and pageantry? That's the concern I had to raise for some folks here. Your thoughts quickly, and then we'll move on. Prince,
I think, the way we organize our event might be entirely different from what they will do there. Take into consideration the kind of weather we have. In America, if you have -4 degrees, you can't let people come and stand in the weather to do a military parade for you. So, there are a few dynamics that comes into play when it comes to this aspect of it. But the reality is what the man came to do. I think it's where the focus should be. As to the organization of an event, we might decide to make our military men come and spice the day and have the day, brighten. That is on the lighter side, Okay. But
he's right. Of course, your culture would always have an impact on how you do things. America have their own way of doing things. There are certain things America would spend resources on that we would think is a needless spend. And there are certain things we do that they would also think it's a waste of resources. But certainly it doesn't mean that we can't look at how others do their things, and if that can help us in mitigating the resources we spend in organizing some of these things, why not? Because at the end of the day, if it's about, cost cutting, and that can also be channeled into some other things, why not? But I don't think that just because some other jurisdictions don't do theirs with the pomp and pageantry, if we think that we can do that, why not? But we can cut down on the, if you like, expenses and all those things, and then just make it as modest as possible, because by and large, what really you are coming to talk about is to give an outlook of the country. And why do you want to come and give us an outlook of the country? And within that outlook, you're going to talk about some of the challenges and the opportunities. And one of the ways of reversing the challenges is about resources. It's about the economics. Right. And so if right before us, you are spending resources when you could afford not to spend, then why not? I don't think that should be an issue at all. But certainly, I don't think it adds to the beauty. Yes. It adds to that.
So you're here and there.
But we should balance.
I'll bring us kind. This is just an annual report. They'll need to.
Well, said all the sentiments. Really, I mean, I think that we're heading towards the 6th March, which is Independence Day. This may just be a precursor to that. You know, yeah, you look at the budgetary issues. Well, if you say that, then after parliamentarians, I think handing your V8s. No more V8s for the parliamentarians. They should ride bicycles. And after all, in other jurisdictions,
so it's a broader issue.
It's a broader issue than that. So I think that in terms of our culture, okay, it's fine whether it makes any impact on what the president says or not on SONA. It ultimately it will be what he says in the SONA that we'll focus on. And so, yeah, for me, that's a perspective I can bring along.
So we shouldn't spend too much time on that.
No, I don't.
We discussed 24-hour economy. Was it last week, Monday, if you remember? Okay, so in the SONA, he said it's the biggest and boldest economic move ever made. Is that a true statement? I'll take it from you towards.
Well, you see, once you come up with a policy direction, you need to back it up, whether you like it or not.
But what do you see? I understand that, but...
Well, I mean, I have never seen any economy that runs fully on a 24-hour. There's no, even Britain, there's no such thing as a full 24-hour economy.
Full blown, yeah.
Yeah, so... and you've got to separate the political rhetoric and the campaigning rhetoric to what the actuals and the pragmatic things are. Bottom line is it's about ensuring that you have the right economic environment so that businesses can thrive, your factories are working, there's supply, there's demand for their supply, you know, and all of that. And they naturally will move according to the natural directions of demand and supply. And there are lots of elements within there. If you're not looking at the issues of security, who on earth wants to go to work and thinks that, you know, he goes to work and then armed robbers will lay away him on the way.
So for you, it's not the biggest move aside.
There are so many issues that will have to go into ensuring that a 24-hour economy works. As for 133, it sounds like something that when you go to the local bar, you order one mandingo, two.
I want us to try and do a random...
Because they have to be practical, you know, so...
Touch on...
I haven't read the policy document, but everybody would love to have our economy in the right place to allow businesses to thrive in that manner, you know, and it is going to be work in progress. We know the deficiencies we have in security. We're even complaining about common street lights. We are complaining today all over the country. People are afraid to move around in certain areas because there are no street lights.
Okay, so it's work in progress. Let me have Tanko
so there's nothing wrong with having a policy direction that moves in that direction. But I think that we should be practical.
Tanko, energy sector reformation continues unabated. That's what His Excellency said. How's that really happening? If indeed it's happening, are we being unreasonable when it comes to, you know, or let's say, are we unreasonably not being patient? Because he talks about the fact that it's ongoing and therefore they need time.
Well, you know, the energy sector debate or concerns would always come up because it is the engine. You know, the energy drives almost everything. So if you don't get the energy sector up and running, it's going to have a trickling effect on almost every aspect of your economy. So it is understandable that you would want to keep it up there in the policy or in whatever, you know, reset or reorganization that you're doing. So it's understandable. Whether we are being impatient, I mean, that's human nature. I mean, especially when it affects your day-to-day activity and you don't have the power to make things happen. The people who have willingly come to you and solicited your support to lead and resolve some of these things, you would have to give them pressure. You have to demonstrate you're impatient with them. And that's the only way you can get them to realize how uncomfortable you are with the situation. So as for people being impatient, they're not being impatient for being impatient's sake. They're being impatient because it's hitting them where it matters most. And when things are hitting you where it matters most, the natural thing to do is not to sit back. If you sit back and you don't react, then you are being complicit, and you have no basis to complain. So as for the impatient, I think it's understandable, but of course we have to put it in context and realize that some of these things, I mean, some of them are out of our hands, but we also have some role to play in terms of the discipline and leadership and management of their sector, because we have been at this journey for far too long, and it's almost like the same story over and over again. And you see, the whole thing about this 24-hour economy, Oscar mentioned that it has its positives, but of course it is a very holistic thing. You can't get it going without fixing the other areas as well.
I mean, you know, because of time, you know, I want to move on and bring Prince in. Prince, let's look at the big push agenda, has to do with roads. His Excellency says that the whole country is a construction site. Sounds great and all of that, but are we considering quality? Do, you know, modern roads here last?
I mean, when it comes to road infrastructure, I think because of the nature that we find our roads, sometimes we live in a place where the road is too bad, that when you get something better than what you have, even the people that don't demand the quality that needs to, that they should be demanding for. Like the Santor Road, where I live on the East Legon Hills Enclave. The road, the side that goes to Santor used to be so bad. I mean, extremely bad. When we say bad, during the rainy season, half of your car can be submerged. So in this big push agenda from, I think, January, they started somewhere last year, but there was a break in the construction. But from January to now, the speed at which the construction has gone on, to me, that is what I'm seeing to say that the whole country being a construction zone is not just a matter of just a conversation or a talk. The speed, they even work in the night. That is
I'm talking about quality.
But the quality, it can be guaranteed, you know. But, looking at...
based on experience, hindsight.
Yes. So looking at the same area, the other wing that passes through the lighthouse stretch of the East Legon Hills, the road was done, I think, in 2023, thereabout. It's not quite too long. But in the space of about 4 or 5 years, it's going off. Quality is always a problem. That one, it cannot be guaranteed, man. But under this big push, under this big push, I think is one of the metrics that we need to, as a country, push, because the distance between constructing a road and doing a quality work is not too far. But if we do a shoddy job and want to start all over again, it's too expensive.
Okay, so Danko, how do we guarantee? You are raising that quickly, then I'll come to Oscar.
Yes, we have had a lot of shoddy roads because those who are supposed to do the monitoring and evaluation go to sleep, frankly. And we have to, this is where the issue of the decentralization has to come in, where the local authorities have to be taxed to be the ones doing the monitoring and evaluation. And this is what we also have to do. I think the public sometimes, we also are a bit, you know, if you like, unconcerned. So we are interested in having a road, the road is built, less than 1 year, the road gets deteriorated, and we think it's normal. We need to, you know, when we're doing this orientation, we need to let the public know that this amount of money that is being spent on this road, by and large, this is the gestation period of that road. That road should last up to this number of years before we see it being deteriorated. If it doesn't, then there is an issue, and you have to ask questions and you have to protest. We have to empower people to now start taking those things right at the local level. Because it's unacceptable where we put money in there, and then after 1 year, the place deteriorates, and then we go back to the same thing.
There's a part of the speech. You see, I'm doing a random thing. We have limited time, but Oscar, I want to bring in this because you're here, an actor. If I don't do this, I'll be doing a disservice. Creative sector. He touched on that, and quickly, you know, I quote him. He says, Mr. Speaker, I wish to assure the creative industry and the Ministry of Tourism that I will be your personal ambassador for the promotion of tourism and the creative sector. Figures, he mentioned 40 million Ghana cedis, 20 for the movies. He says Gollywood, Kumawood, and all the woods. That's how he put it. And then another 20 for my industry, media, music, and the likes. Your thoughts on that? Because
well, anything that government provides for the industry is welcomed. As to whether it is enough, we will always be more than Oliver and Kojo twists.
Ask for more.
But so it's good to hear that, yes, and it's good to hear that the president is putting his full weight, and we're going to be an ambassador for tourism. It's just stating the fact that the tourist industry and the creative arts sector is crucial to the development of this country. As to whether the amount of money given to it is adequate, I don't think so. I think we deserve far much more than a mere 20 million cedis here and there. But we welcome it. When you look at other sectors that are receiving far more than that. And I'll say this because, look, how much is 20 million cedis in dollars right now? Yes, even if it's 10 cedis, it's about how much? $2 million. I mean, you look at Black Panther, they use $250 million to produce one movie. So the whole sector is getting $2 million. Okay, all right, okay. That's one movie. So we look at it within that context, and obviously you cut your quote according to your size. So we welcome it and hope that the managers of those monies, where the problem comes from, and that what time the money comes, and the managers themselves don't now come and cause problems in the industry. We know of heard how government has given money to Musica and to this and that, and then it becomes now they're still investigating it. We don't want all of that. So it is
creating the environment for the private sector to come into.
But for me, it's important that we mainstream the creative sector within the national development of this country. And it's so important because everything is about the creative sector, from the clothes we wear to the designs that our carpenters do. You name it, from gaming, that people are playing games on their phones. I mean, everything is about the creative sector. And I think that our duty bearers must take it more seriously than how they take it.
Okay, let me give Prince a chance.
When it comes to the energy sector, if ECG only accounts to 50% of the power they buy, they are able to collect, then the reform there, I think it should be a very sweeping reforms, because you can't buy power from power producers and can only account for 50% from the SONA, the president account. I think getting
the framework, the ECG framework, is certainly something that has to be looked at.
Yes.
It has not served as well.
It has not served as well at all.
Bold. And this calls for a bold leadership.
Very bold.
Because clearly the status quo hasn't helped. No. And so we need to move away from that. If that means that we have to do things radically, and I know people don't like to hear the private sector being invited.
So this is ECG.
Yes.
So you're calling for what? Investigations?
We want private sector participation. Because no private sector
diversity. There should be diversity, and others should be invited into it. You know what happened when the telecoms was concentrated in the government and all those things? You know the challenges we had. Eventually, when it was opened up, we see the competitions and we see what that has brought in. So there may be concerns, but ultimately, when you look at the antecedents from other sectors and how it had actually opened up the space when others were invited in, I think that is something that should give us a cue.
Because if you look at a company like Dawa, Industrial Enclave, they are doing their own solar project of about 200 megawatts that can feed the whole Dawa Enclave for them. So independently, some people, we can invite people, as he's saying, into it, because you can't buy. There's no businessman who go and buy something for 100 cedis and come and sell it for 50 cedis.
Yeah. How long can we continue?
I think critical to people's pockets today is the cost of electricity. I think over the weeks we've heard how people are complaining, their meters are running.
Yes.
I, from a practical point of view, we're about to host the T20 World Cup qualifier here in Ghana. In preparation to put our pitches together, you need to water the lawns, you've got the pumps on. I'm telling you, we're close to spending 500 cedis a day on electricity.
That's a lot.
That's ridiculous.
That's a lot.
That's ridiculous. So something really has to be done.
Yeah, our time is just up. We would have gone on and on and on, but we are also honored to have A1 to sponsor this year Heritage Month breakfast. You know, we are in March, and there's a lot coming up here on GTV, Breakfast Show, and GBC, and in its entirety. And so you have to stay on. You'd enjoy a bit of it, but we are again honored to have A1 to sponsor this year Heritage Month breakfast. So we are glad, and we are saying a big thank you.
Very well in promoting the Heritage Month, because at the end of the day, that would boost domestic tourism.
Absolutely.
And if we are able to boost domestic tourism, it's also one of those areas where it can create job opportunities for people. That sector is a sector where you create job opportunities for almost all the layers in terms of our, job hierarchy.
Projecting our culture, letting people understand. As you know, recently they said our president was in blouse. To educate people and all of that. But the SONA, my part is, another concern is the noise in the chamber. We should allow our presidents to give their speech, not just. But sometimes in the interaction, you get to miss certain parts of it.
I think that one, if you take it out,
that we find out what
if you take it out, you take the beauty out.
Flavor.
But we just have to make sure we don't do
people
it
come
in
into
such a way
parliament with black
that
clothes
it
and
interrupts.
cocoa pots on their head. I mean, it makes it very beautiful.
Too boyish. but you saw what happened in America with the SONA when the president asked that, people, members should stand up to recognize that the American government is there to protect the American people. The Democrats sat down. They sat down.
No, it's all part of the game.
I mean, it's part of
But
the
you don't do it at the expense of hearing.
We all have our different.
Thank you so much, Oscar Provençal. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Zakaria Tankomusa, and thank you, Prince Tiamwa Pompom. Thanks for your time again.
It shouldn't be
in the Heritage Month.
I would be crucified if I don't make this call. As I said, Ghana is hosting the World Cup cricket qualifier for T20 cricket, men's senior team. We're hosting it at Achimota Oval from the 22nd of March to the 29th. We're calling on all sponsors to come on board and make this successful. It's going to be streamed live to over 100 million people. In the Africa Games, we had viewership of 6 million people, and we're calling on sponsors so that sports tourism is not just about sports. It's the people we house in the hotels. It's part of tourism. They go to our tourist sites to take pictures and visit the sites. So even though we're doing sports, we're qualifying it now as sports tourism. So Ghana Cricket Association is championing sports tourism in Ghana.
Just a little bit, few seconds on the creative arts. You were talking about the fund and all that, and the question is, where does the allocation go?
Yes, well, we have to go into the details.
And how it's dispersed.
Mind you, this is not the first time we are hearing about government providing money for the creative. There was a time they said there was a $50 million World Bank something, and then we've heard it all before. So forgive me for being skeptical.
In your estimation,
forgive me for being skeptical.
Like this, what should be the processes that it can affect people like you who are key players?
Well, sometimes you have to recognize that there's a system.
Oscar always has
to overcome the system.
He raises the skepticism when you ask him to prefer the solution that he wants to be diplomatic.
No, you want me to prefer? Send it to my.
He's an efficient critic.
If that's the case, then send it to my bank account. That's all.
Efficient critic. Interesting. So very soon, we'll be enjoying some breakfast by courtesy of A1.
Okay.
But as
fantastic.
Jay is right there handling the packages.
Yes,
so I'll send you over there. So
I can't enjoy it because
it's a Ramadan.
we'll enjoy it for you.
Yeah, you
Inshallah.
Inshallah. So you saved my show.
Yes.
So when I break my
No, you'll not be able to save it. I'll consume it and then get you one
and you get
when you're ready.
You get the blessings of it.
All right, so let's take a walk to the table, and let Jay hand over.
The amount of it, recognized by A1 Bread. They showed us some love with some amount of love initiative, and they brought us breakfast, the Chibom breakfast. And I'm here with the man himself, Ike, and Ike is going to tell us what brought this all up. It's Heritage Month. We're doing Ghanaian stuff, and we're doing what we have to do to embrace our heritage. So, gentlemen, some of you can come towards the side. Yeah, so that we can balance ourselves. Yes. So let me give the opportunity to Ike to tell us what's happening. So.
Okay, so basically, I want to be next to the man who is not going to eat.
So that he can have mine,
We don't want any conflict.
So basically, as you said, it's Heritage Month, and then we are here to celebrate Ghana. Since it's the independence of Ghana, and how best can you celebrate Ghana? We also have to taste Ghana, and so here we have the A1 Chibom, which is Ghanaian made from A1. I mean, we already know Chibom already. Chibom is not something new. Growing up, that's what we toast to say Chibom or Yankoti Chibom, those things.
So can we say bread and egg?
Yes, bread and egg. So it is a classic Ghanaian food that we had already. Like from time to time, musicians take samples of old music, highlight music, and then bring it back. Here we have done just the packaging, then also improving on the brand and as it were, so that it can sell in the market and all that. So we are here today to give breakfast to the Chibom, our signature Chibom. The taste is superb. It is egg and bread which is made in Ghana. Egg, everything here you see is made in Ghana. So probably made in Ghana.
The Chibom, is it with a fancy flavor?
Yes, it's all the diversity that you have. So, yes.
Chibom Morito.
Yes.
What I like about this is the paper packaging because of the concerns we have
Yes.
and all these things. And I really hope that apart from just the packaging that we are seeing, what you have inside would also not be plastic, because frankly we need to be moving away from the plastic because of the environmental concerns.
Good narrative.
Most of the companies are becoming sustainable now. So, I mean,
so time will not afford us to have an energy conscious conversation. At this point, A1 is giving breakfast to our wonderful guest. Thank you, gentlemen, this morning. Those who came in the morning, you missed that, but later on you'll get your but for now, let me just present Prince. Your Chibom breakfast this morning. We are sharing.
The man, you only spoke about the Chibom. There's no tea to go with it.
Something. You know what? So the Chibom, tell us everything inside the package. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Chibom is a bread with egg, and then we have our chocolate drink, made in Ghana chocolate drink. So everything is Cocoa is never absent.
Thank you so much for being here.
Cocoa is never absent.
Yes, A1 breakfast. Yes.
Thank you,
yes. Thank you so much. So if you're also celebrating your birthday today, we're going to do some quick shout outs, but that will be after a round lottery. But for now, A1. I almost said A1 lottery.
We are giving lotteries today, so
we won a lottery this morning. We got breakfast on breakfast show. So find out where to us, how people can reach out to you if they want this wonderful package. If where are you on the market in Ghana?
So for now, we are not in the market yet. We've selected some group of people that we are just in the delivering phase.
Okay.
So very soon we'll hit the market. However, you can call us for your events and all that. We are there, corporate, GBs, whenever you have a program, contact us, we'll come and set up. We don't just do the delivery like that, we do a whole package setup. So we can do the setup for. So for now, you can reach us on 0241 555 000, 0241 555 000.
Yeah. He's giving an idea.
We want some breakfast this morning from A1, and for now, we'll go take some round lottery results. We'll be back right after this.